Hello and welcome. Getting this set up, and I know there's going to be some people that'll be joining, so I'm going to give some people some time. I appreciate it. I know it's impromptu, but because today was the holiday, I had a lot of DMs and emails, a few text messages, and so I thought collectively this would be a lot easier rather than me taking up the Tuesday evening and the Thursday evening that I typically come and join you live. That will be a regular programming note for those of you that join me for the first time here tonight. Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern and every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays is more of my Q&A for parents. I'm joined every other Tuesday by Tamara Seaman, mental performance coach. She helps talk about the mental performance, mental health within youth sports. I also try to answer relative topics that parents are asking me, particularly with regard to the new changes with the NCAA. So a little bit of recruiting, a little bit of youth baseball, which brings me to tonight. Tonight, I'm really, before I get started down the college recruiting rabbit hole, and I want to let everybody know, I don't think it's any secret, and I'm not trying to be a braggart, but it does make me look somewhat unpolished, and I've had a few comments on that. I don't have a script. I don't have a teleprompter. I really don't prepare, topics or bullet points. I kind of shoot straight from the hip based on my questions that have been asked. And so on that note, I thought for the off season, which I hope for the vast majority of you as parents and student athletes, that we are officially in the off season. And so I am coming out with a series, and it's going to be for subscribers and members. And when I say members, heck, it's $4.99 a month, $60 for a year. I don't know if anybody's checked out the members section, but a lot of great content in there. And I'm going to be adding the Parents Playbook, a series specifically for parents on what to do, why to do it, when to do it for the off season. So anything and everything pertaining to the off season for youth baseball. And I say that, I know this sounds silly when I say it, but ages 6 to 14, and then obviously the off season for those high school student athletes. And I'm going to be talking about time parameters, things of that nature. Why am I doing that? The purpose is to inform and educate parents and to give you an alternative voice. And this is in no way, in any way, shape, or form, a negative thought, a negative approach to your travel organizations, to the people that are your personal professional instructors. Nothing to do with that. I just think the last thing that you as a parent or a student athlete needs is another voice lecturing them or somebody getting in their head about what to do, how to do it, when to do it. I really want to come at this as providing different topics and hear from different voices, such as Tamara Seaman, such as Eric Cressy, Mike Reinhold, such as Trey Hannon. I'm going to bring in a collaborative approach so we can hear, that you can hear directly from what I consider, my personal opinion, to be the mentors within the space. And so that we'll talk about various topics: nutrition, strength, arm care. My son Tyler and Matt Tabor of Pitch Safe. They're going to be providing. Their app is absolutely spectacular, and so they're going to talk about all things related to arm care. We're going to talk about strength training, nutrition, supplementation, sleep. But I'm doing this. It's a parent's guide to the off season. And I really feel that it's going to provide parents as well as student athletes insight and information that will be, as a collective whole, something that you can utilize to make sure or ensure that your student athletes are getting the best opportunities. And I think that this is something that is definitely needed in the world. Um, I'm not going to be talking about how to hit a baseball, how to throw a baseball. We're going to talk about things like how to grip a baseball properly and why that's important, how to hold a bat properly and why that's important. We'll talk to equipment manufacturers. We'll talk to all sorts of people within the space of baseball, a little bit of softball. I'm going to dive into that a little bit. But, the parent's guide, and I don't want to call it a survival guide, but I just want to call it, that parent's guide to the off season. Yeah, it's going to go behind a paywall, and it's $4.99. And I don't think that's a lot in today's world. I take the time to make sure we get access to these people and provide the information that'll be always available to you in the members section. Also going to be doing that with the Coach's Corner, really ramping that up, really ramping the Coach's Corner up. In fact, I spoke a little bit today with Rick Odette, the former St. Leo's coach, now the Florida Southern coach. We're going to talk a little bit about Division II baseball. Also, this week, we're going to talk to the University of Penn, John Yurkow, and we're going to talk about the academic piece. Now, I'd like to make sure that parents are aware. I already have a series, and there'll be another one that will be released tomorrow evening on the postgrad and everything to do with reclassifying. I've talked to Tread Athletics and Cressy Sports Performance with relation to the gap year or the year off in the training from a physical and skill set development perspective. Talked to Lawrence Academy head coach Chris Margraf, a school that my son Tyler attended. We're going to be talking to a student athlete who is currently attending Lawrence Academy and his parents. They're from Canada, the Ontario, Canada area. I'm going to be talking to Logan and Troy Frogie, and they are someone that I've been working with for a while. And they're going to talk about their reclassifying from a 25 graduate to a 26, and then everything and anything to do with the postgraduate experience with regard to the academic postgraduate experience, meaning those student athletes. I believe I'm working with 7 families this calendar year that are attending schools like Phillips Andover, Phillips Exeter, the Salisbury School, the Winchendon School, Cheshire Academy, Deerfield Academy. Great. When I say great, I mean fantastic information, not from just me, from the coaches, from the students directly, the student athletes that are actually living the experience before, now, during, after, in college, and after, and then graduated. I think that's a tremendous series, and I think it offers really valuable information for families. The topics we're going to cover will be anything and everything to do with regard to the off season, and they'll all be available for you with regard to, all the videos will be there, and you can listen to them and watch them at your leisure. And this is a collaborative effort with parents and student athletes that I've either A, worked with, or B, working with. It's also going to be with coaches. It's going to be with academic admissions folks like we did with Nate Bell at Vanderbilt. We're going to talk to some folks at Amherst. We're going to at a Division III school. So I think the parental testimonials, the conversations with the college, not only the admissions and the academic advisors, also the coaches, I think that provides useful information. And I really feel that you should watch, because I really want you to be well informed, because the sky is not falling, contrary to popular belief. But I do want to say before I put my glasses on, and again, this is a live Q&A. So if you have a question, you can type it into YouTube. You can type it into Twitter. I'm going to see it. I'll put my spectacles on and I'll answer it for you here tonight. But I really want you to understand that this is something that I feel very strongly about. And I want parents to kind of have that opportunity to really understand what these upcoming changes mean. You know, we're so focused on Division One, but these changes, although they're specifically geared through a settlement with the NCAA from the old Power Five, now Power Four, but it's a Division One, mandate or settlement. It's going to have an effect all the way throughout baseball, and it's going to be felt by a lot of families, a lot of student athletes, and so here's what I'm asking for you to do before we get into our college recruiting discussion tonight. One, it's free to subscribe. Why does this matter? I get people that ask me all the time, well, I follow you on Twitter. I follow you here. Why do I need to subscribe? Okay, subscribing helps me grow. It helps an algorithm. So as a personal favor, if you could subscribe, like tonight before we started, my subscriber number was 8,999. So one more subscriber, I get to 9,000. Woohoo, it's an achievement. But it helps me grow. It helps me with regard to the algorithm, not only on YouTube, but with regard to potential sponsorships, things that I can do to help grow this network and this channel. Two, I really want people to understand that there is a need for an alternative voice within the industry, not only of youth baseball, but for youth sports. And I say that because there is now a proliferation. That's a 50-cent word that my dad would reach in his pocket and pull out a silver $50 for, of recruiting services. Now, I'm not saying that they are bad. What I am saying to you as parents is, if I'm a parent and I stop and I think, the total number, in any one calendar year of college freshmen that go from high school to college. Now, listen to how I'm wording this, that go from high school directly to college. Used to be, if we're going to use round numbers, between 10 to 15,000 people. And if we take the cream of the crop and we take 5,000 that are the elite of the elite, Power Five recruits, we're about 10,000. Let's give it that number. And that, I think that's high, but let's use 10,000. They're not all going Division One. In fact, less than 2.4% are going Division One baseball. Total of former high school players are playing Division One baseball. Another 2.5% playing Division Two. Then we're a little bit like 3.5% are playing NCAA Division Three. And then we have some JUCO and a lot of NAIA players. So my point to you is, parents, recruiting service. Okay, if I can help educate you and help navigate a little bit, it might make your pathway a little less stressful. That's one. Two, $4.99 is like not even a hot dog or a hamburger at a youth game. Heck, a gate fee at a USSSA game is $60 for a family of 4 or 3, unless your grandparents are going. So my point is, I'm asking for you to follow me on social media. I'm asking you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you like the content, the Coach's Corner, the Postgraduate and Reclassifying series, it's behind a paywall. I'm not trying to agitate people. $4.99. I don't think it's going to hurt. Lastly, before I get down the college recruiting rabbit hole, the baseball blue book. You see me, I got this logo on over here. I got the hat on over here, and everybody's asking me, well, are you the blue book? I am not the blue book. I am a part of the blue book. in today's world of the app world, where one can pick up a phone and press a button and suddenly all of this myriad of information comes pouring out of my phone or my computer, the baseball blue book has been around for over 100 years. Its purpose 100 years ago, much like the yellow pages, was to provide families and athletes access to people within the world of baseball. High schools, colleges, professional teams, scouts, coaches, instructors now, equipment manufacturers, anything and everything to do with baseball. If it had to do with the sport, the game of baseball, it was in an actual book. I used to get a copy of it. In fact, I used it to write, physically write, in cursive, by the way, letters to major league teams to say, hey, I go to Fitchburg High School. I'd love to have a scout come to my games. And a scout did come to my games. But my point is, now it's in the Google and the Apple App Store. It's free. You get to upload all your videos, all your social media contact information, your transcripts. You get to upload anything and everything about you as a student athlete, a prospective recruitable student athlete. You get to interact and find out when there are college camps, what equipment manufacturers are coming out with the new latest and greatest equipment, Pro Line balls, OTW bats, those types of companies. They're all in the Blue Book. It's free. You create a profile. You know, there are other apps, but there are no other apps that have been around for over 100 years. The Blue Book has been with me since day one. I'm with them as long as I'm drawing a breath. And so I'm asking you politely, just go create a profile. And somebody's going to find you. In fact, I know lots of people that have found me from the Blue Book and then subsequently got contacted by college coaches through the baseball Blue Book. They interact now on social media. So it's simple. So before I go ramble on, I'm going to answer a question. Hello, Adam. And I have two questions that I want to answer here. And I want to make sure I have tough time seeing these unless I put my glasses on. Okay, so the first question that's coming in, college recruiting. What do we need to know as far as the settlement is concerned? And I want parents to understand that April 7th or thereabouts is the expected time frame when all of the agreed upon components to the settlement will be implemented. So April of 2025. What we know based on our conversation with Jim Schlossnagel, based on my conversations with John Casey, Tim Corbin, Dave Serrano, Matt Tyner, John Yurko, today Rick Odette, from Division II coach. Pretty simple. There is going to be a firm cap that will begin when classes start at each individual school in the fall of 2025. Could be 34, could be 35, might be 36. Everybody I talk to is in that 34 number. That could change. That's one. Number two, right now, what is in active negotiation is it going to be conference by conference to decide on the number of scholarships that schools will provide, or is it going to be school by school? For instance, hypothetical, you could be in the Big Ten. Michigan may opt to say, we're going to go 34 full scholarships in a school, picking randomly, Penn State, Rutgers, somebody like that. Could opt to say, we're going to cap it at 15 to 20, somewhere in that nature. The SEC or the Big 12, they may opt to collectively, as a whole, as a conference, offer 34 full scholarships. The mid-majors are the winners. The Division II and III coaches within the NCAA are the winners. NAIA and JUCO coaches also winners. Why? If a roster in this fall of 2024, and we can pick any school in Division I baseball, has a roster of greater than 45, could be 48, could be 55, could be 60 in some cases, and they are going to opt in to the Division I settlement where they have to have a roster cap of 34 to 36. We'll use 34. That means if we have 48, we're going to cut 14 players. And when I say cut, we can use any word that we would like to use. They all sound very harsh as parents. Nobody wants to hear decommitted, cut, released, told to go away. And oh, by the way, this has been going on for years. This isn't anything that's different or unique, but it is going to be a lot stricter with a kind of a roof over it now, where the number and the cap number will be firm. So all of these athletes that are kind of saying, well, I'm a fringe SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10 guy, and then they suddenly find themselves, looking for a home, a lot of college coaches are going to go looking for that talent. A lot of college coaches are going to wait to see what that talent pool looks like. The cause and effect. So what's the effect? The effect is a lot of college baseball programs. I want to make sure I say a lot, not all, a lot of college coaches are in pause mode. They're not as aggressive as they might have been. Are there exceptions? Yes. If there's an elite high school pitcher or an elite high school hitter, will they try to find room? Absolutely. But for the vast majority of college coaches, they're going to slow their flow and kind of put things on pause. And they're going to evaluate their athletes that are currently at their facilities. And then once the spring has come and the season has completed, they'll have those internal discussions. And then the transfer portal, starting in early June 2025 through the mid portion of July, it'll be very aggressive for all of the colleges across the country at all levels, all divisions, and they'll begin to hopefully catch the low-hanging fruit that begins to fall. What does that mean for you if you're a high school student athlete or you're the parent of a high school student athlete? The realities are the norm is no longer applicable to you as a family. So there's no recruiting service. I get a kick out of these people that, they say, well, I've placed 1 million people. Well, that was yesterday, and going forward looks nothing like yesterday. You can't just pick up a phone and say, hey, can you hide this guy and redshirt this guy? Can you do me a solid and take this guy? Doesn't work that way. Coaches now must get it right. You've heard every coach that has been with me over the last 2 to 3 months use the terminology, we have to do a better job evaluating. We must get it right. We cannot rush. So from that perspective, what we have to understand is if our sons are 2025 high school graduates and we are looking at the college opportunities, it used to be very wide open. Now it's very, very narrow. And so you as parents have to begin to understand, okay, are we taking an academic and athletic approach to our college selection process? Or are we going to just take an athletic perspective or just an academic perspective? What are our goals as a family, or more importantly, as a student athlete? The next thing is for all of those parents that are under the assumption that will just go to a JUCO, I've said this a million times. We've had Jeff Mazia on. We've had Jeff Willis on. We've had a lot of JUCO coaches talk with us. Playing baseball at a junior college, yes, you do get to participate athletically 18 through 20 for the most part. But the opportunities are not going to be as plentiful as they might have been in the past, because a lot of pushbacks that might have been at the Division I level or Division II that might get pushed back if they're freshmen, sophomore, meaning they're not entering or participating as a junior academically or athletically, they may go back to a JUCO to get playing time. The bigger window is opening at the NAIA level. I'm going to get to that at a second. NAIA baseball has been under the radar, but is really just vaulting. And I really encourage parents to take a deeper dive into the NAIA world. No, that is not just because of my rapport or relationship with Dave Serrano and others. It's because NAIA, one look at Sheets, Coach Sheets at Georgia Gwinnett. I mean, look at their facilities, look at their teams. NAIA baseball is definitely something to take a look at. But my point is you're going to have to become more proactive with creating a plan. And that plan, part of the reason why I did that series on postgraduate reclassifying and the gap year with the skill and the strength component, is to give parents kind of a runway to educate yourselves and to kind of learn. And I again, I'm going to encourage you, go listen to these families that a year ago looked at me like I had three heads. What do I need another year of high school for? What's the purpose of that? Isn't that going backwards? Isn't that counterproductive? And when you take a deeper dive, you will learn the positives far outweigh the negatives. And I have no skin in this game. I don't receive compensation from schools or colleges or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell you, as a former head NCAA baseball coach, as a former athlete, I've lived it at every level. I never played Major League Baseball, didn't even sniff it, didn't even come close. I can't talk to what it takes to become a major leaguer. I can tell you what I think it looks like as a dad, but I can't talk to you as a player. But as it relates to college baseball, we have to understand that for the vast majority, the significant majority, playing baseball beyond high school, it ends. I have to talk to parents and be honest and be candid. 90%, and that's being kind. If you want to call it 85%, do not play beyond high school. So, when we're trying to throw all this money at recruiting services and all these people, they can't force your student athlete on anybody. Your student athlete has to be accountable and has to be prepared physically, mentally, skill set wise. There's a lot of variables on who gets between the lines at the collegiate level. The next thing I really want to encourage for parents to understand is this is nobody's fault. A long time ago, I believe it was 2009, Ed O'Bannon, a former UCLA basketball student athlete, was upset because he's an NBA player. He looked at EA Sports. They had a video game and it was college basketball. And he looked up and there was UCLA basketball and there was Ed O'Bannon. He didn't get any money for it. So I want parents to understand my next point that I'm going to make to you is I can make a case that the brands within the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, Big 10 are bigger in some places, not all, They're on par with the Yankees. They're on par with the Dodgers. They're on par with the San Francisco Giants, the Boston Celtics, the New England Patriots, the Dallas Cowboys. I want you to listen to my point before you dismiss it. Alabama football, LSU football, LSU baseball, Florida baseball, Vanderbilt baseball. I could go on and on. Stanford baseball. These have Clemson baseball, Florida State baseball. We can Tennessee football, Tennessee baseball, Kentucky. Have you ever gone to a college sporting event and seen the number of RVs that are coming in on a Thursday night for a Saturday football game or a Thursday night for a weekend series? My point is, we're adults thinking college. We're thinking about college, but we're not thinking it like they're thinking about college. It's big business. It's nothing personal. These college coaches, they have to answer to their athletic department, their athletic director, their president of their universities. And this is a very, very big discussion point. The business of college athletics, top to bottom, is a very, very big part of your recruiting process. Well, Walt, my son wants to go to Townsend University and play for Coach Tyner. I don't know why you're talking about this. Oh, let me tell you a little bit about Coach Tyner. 11.7 is the norm for the vast majority of Division I baseball programs. I think he has 8. 8. So that means currently, if he has a roster of 40, let's give it 45, he might have some red shirts. He has 32 to 37 student athletes that are in some way, shape, or form paying the university to attend. Conversely, his football program at Townsend University, Coach Tyner does not coach football, but it costs the university $8 million approximately for the football program. Which sport do you think they want to make sure sticks around as a university? We've seen a lot of universities that have had to close, of which one I used to coach at the Division III level, albeit at the Division III level. My point to you is, parents, this is a business. Business decisions have to be made. Business decisions have to be approved. And so between the months of April 2025 and let's say the latter half of August, early September 2025, you are going to have this type of window for that many people. And so I'm telling you that if we prepare for this, we being, hey, I'm over here trying to help, it will help your transition of a 2025 as well as a 2026 and even a 2027, which I don't want to touch today. But this is going to have a ripple effect for all of these years. I had a parent prior to tonight's call ask me about an NAIA program, and they were assuming that I was going to say to them that the road ahead was clear and uncluttered. In fact, all roads to all colleges in some way, shape, or form have debris, obstacles that you're going to have to overcome. A lot of upperclassmen, a lot of transfers, a lot of incoming transfers next year. So the sooner you get to making a plan or moving forward with a plan with regard to educating yourselves will be a lot better. And so I have a note here. I'm going to read it when I put my glasses on, but I just read one and I'm going to touch upon it briefly. I want to let parents understand. Been doing college counseling. I call it consulting for over 3.5 decades. I have relationships, some I've had for decades, some I've had for months. Some I just talked to briefly via emails and cell phone chats. But I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been in the space of the postgraduate gap year world for decades. I had a young man, I've told the story a myriad of multiple times on here, Mason Coppins from New Orleans, Louisiana, was told he'd never play college baseball. Never. Not JUCO, not Division III, not NAIA. You're not good enough. Helped him do a postgrad year at the Salisbury School in Connecticut. He was a 3-year starter at Northeastern University, was a Gold Glove finalist for 3 years, NCAA Division I, played 2 years on the Cape Cod League, which is the best summer college baseball league in the country, and was a Silver Slugger Award winner in one of those summers on the Cape. All because he did a year of postgrad at the Salisbury School, giving him the opportunity to mature physically, skill set, academically, in order to see the world beyond his local, not only New Orleans, but the state of Louisiana. He moved out of his comfort zone. My point of telling you all this is what I do is at a very, very high level in the relationships and the rapport that I have with admissions departments. Take a look at some of the admissions to some of these postgrad schools in the NEPSAC and the Founders League and the ISL. They know that for over 30 years, I have presented families and student athletes of the highest character, of really significant, really good life skills that were good students, good people, good athletes that I thought would benefit from a year of postgraduate opportunity. I've been doing that for a long time. I'm not a recruiting service. And I know this sounds cheesy, but I want to let you know I had somebody say this to me a few weeks ago, and I liked it. So I'm going to steal it. I'm like Liam Nielsen. I have a very unique set of skills. And for some, it doesn't match up. But for those that do, for instance, this year, these are the schools that I'm working with this year that have committed: West Point, Air Force Academy, Lehigh, Bates, Amherst. That's just to name a few. Vanderbilt, Dayton, Phillips Exeter, Phillips Andover, Lawrence Academy, the Winchton School, the Salisbury School, Deerfield Academy. Take a gander at those, and I did use gander in a sentence, so that's another $50 piece. Take a gander at those schools, and you'll see what I'm talking about as far as trading athletic ability for academic excellence. Last point I want to cover before I answer the questions, and I do see 3 of them, and I'm not going to bore you with much more. I want to let parents understand the bigger picture here is allowing. I had a parent come at me and talk to me and was really curious why I'm so adamant. And they were not confrontational, but let's just say the tone of their voice, they weren't particularly pleased with my repetitive discussion points as it pertained to young children ages 6 to 13. Their point, his point, as a dad, my money, I can spend it any way that I want. I want my son to be more competitive. These are the things. Absolutely. You're the parent. I'm not the parent. And as we got into the deeper discussion, we started to talk about the lessons, the equipment, the technology, the travel team, the travel time. And when he got to the time point, he said, "Well, why are you questioning the time?" He goes, "I get why you're questioning the equipment, and I get why you're questioning the travel team, but why do you keep coming at me about time?" Time is a resource. And I'm not going to be like, try to get nostalgic here. And I'm certainly not going to try to paint a broad canvas with this, discussion point. But I want to emphasize one thing. During the time period of 6 through 14, as a parent, you're never going to get that time back. Now, I can wax poetically about my 33 or soon to be 34-year-old and my 31-year-old son. Heck, I got pictures back here when they were little boys. We did everything together, everything. We went to ice hockey games, basketball games. We went camping. We just did a bunch of stuff. And oh, by the way, they did a bunch of stuff without me. They went fishing. They went and played at the park. They went and played wiffle ball. They played touch football. They rode their bikes. They went to get ice cream. They went to get pizza. They were kids. It has nothing to do with the multiple sports. Time is a resource. You can never get a refund. You can never, ever go back and recapture those years as a parent with your children. Is a 4-hour ride up and a 4-hour ride back, those 8 hours, was it really worth it? If we don't ask college players or high school players or professional players to play 5 to 7 games in a weekend in 72 hours, how can we ask, and I shudder when I say it, 6 through 14-year-olds? If I really wanted to go down the rabbit hole and we wanted to talk about arm injuries, we could talk about how kids are still playing baseball in the middle of November and pitching and doing pitching lessons, and we do all this stuff. You can throw an anchor over a boat. Every time you throw that anchor down or you goes through the hole, the rope frays strand by strand, undetectable to the eye. That's what happens over the course of those ages of 6 through 14. Don't deny and don't worry about what you're doing between those ages, as I can assure you. I have a young man. I'm going to call him out tonight. 2 men, 2 young boys, Anthony and Cole. They are both 15 years old. They are both currently freshmen in high school. Cole, more than Anthony, when he was 12, and this is a fact. When Cole was 12, he didn't make the 12-year-old Little League. You've seen Cole. You see some videos. And I took a ride from my home, which is approximately an hour away, to Cole's house. No money. And I told the dad, you stay upstairs. Cole and I are going to go hit downstairs. And I asked him if he had a broomstick. Anyway, before we did anything, I asked Cole, what did he want out of the game? I want to be better. I want to be part of the team. I want to be as good as my peers. And I could tell and hear it mattered to Cole. And I said to Cole, okay, if this means a great deal for you, this is the path you have to take. It's unconventional. Not everybody else is doing it. It has nothing to do with travel ball. In fact, you're going to give up travel baseball. You're going to play locally, but you're going to do 2 things. You're going to work on skill set by yourself, and you're going to get in the weight room and train. And he goes and he's close enough to Cressy Performance in Hudson, Mass. Same thing with Anthony, but on a different level. If I show you a picture of Cole today against his peers, he's approximately 170 pounds, 165, 170 pounds, 15 years old. He has played against older kids in the fall. He has played against older kids during the summers over the last 3 years. And he's better. He's much better. And he's going to be a high school baseball player, probably a JV, plays at a very competitive high school. My point is, nothing you're doing between the ages of 6 through 14 that is organized is truly relevant to what your student athlete becomes in high school. And when they're in high school, every college coach that has ever joined me on Coach's Corner has said, if you are physically not prepared when your feet hit the ground your freshman year, you won't play here. But when parents hear that, all they think is, okay, physically prepared. That means I'm going to go play travel ball. I'm going to play 1,000 games. I'm going to go to all the showcases. I got an exit velocity. I got spin rates. I got verticals. I got horizontal. I got all this stuff. Coaches are talking about physical. They're talking about baseball IQ. Physical requires you at some point to get nutrition, to get strength training, to get sleep, to get supplementation, to understand that you have a routine, you have a discipline, a time management skill set. Nobody cares about your rankings. Nobody cares about your travel team's rank. What they care about is your student athlete physically, mentally prepared to play college baseball. Point, end point. That is it. And oh, by the way, the lines are blurred, very, very blurred. You can be an NAIA player. You can be just as good as a Division I player. You can be a Division II player just as good as a Division I player. The Division I is about a collection of talent, depth of talent. But I can tell you there are Division III programs at the NCAA level that could compete versus Division I. So, parents, the new series is going to help educate and inform. You're going to hear from people other than me. You're going to hear from parents, testimonials. You're going to hear from coaches, testimonials. You're going to hear from all of the peripheral people, baseball IQ 6 tool. You're going to hear from the strength trainers all across the country. Tommy Moffitt, the Moffitt Method, Eric Cressy, Cressy Sports Performance, Mike Reinold, Champions, Ben Fairchild, Fairchild Strength, all across the country. Arm Care, you're going to hear from Pitch Safe, Tyler Beede and Matt Tabor. Oh, by the way, Pitch Safe, if you just take a look at those people that are involved with Pitch Safe, Dr. Meister, who did my son's Tommy John surgery. He's the orthopedic for the Texas Rangers. They have, mental performance coaches such as Tamara Seaman, Dr. Brett McCabe. These are people that provide you with an idea and an educational Q&A so that you can take from that what you need for your student athlete. So before I end this, let me answer these questions. Okay, Jason. Hello, sir. No rushing into we learn more college. Okay, so I get this question a lot, Jason. I want to say thank you for asking this question. For those of you that can see this question, and I've already kind of answered it a little bit, but I really want to make a really strong point. It does not matter to me one way or another. If you're listening and watching the series that I've done with the postgraduate students and their families, the McIntyre family from Texas, their son Logan is currently a high school senior. When I first broached this topic on Postgraduate, their first words were, he's at a very competitive high school. It's a strong set of academics. He's a very strong student. I don't think we need to go down that rabbit hole. Now, you can hear their thoughts after taking visits to these schools and speaking with student athletes that I've worked with that are now attending those schools, such as Logan and Heath Umbach, who you will hear from tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Logan is currently a student athlete at Phillips Andover. He plays football. This fall, he played football. He will play baseball. He is going to be attending Bates. The extra year at Lawrence Academy helped him get into a NESCAT school such as Bates. As a parent, if you have an academic student athlete, I encourage you to look at NESCAT, NES as in Sam, CAC as in cat, NESCAT schools. They're academically elite. In fact, one could make it, they're called and referred to as the little Ivies. And one could make a case that going to do the postgraduate world school year helped tremendously get into that school. 2 boys currently at Phillips Exeter. One just got into Amherst. Another has a couple of opportunities at similar schools. My point is the postgraduate year, and then just for point of edification, we also have a communication with Russ and Carson Cormier. Carson Cormier did a post-grad year at Phillips Andover, coincidentally, is now a student athlete at TCU. Didn't get his TCU opportunity until he graduated from his post-grad school of Andover and then was asked to join the TCU program. And then we have with Ronnie and Riley Hebert of Louisiana. They are now 10 years out, and they went to the Salisbury School in Connecticut, went to the University of Chicago, and now doing a master's degree, a doctorate degree at Northwestern. So the postgraduate is for those of you that have some level of academic component to your college process. Again, my skill sets are really unique. If it's just baseball, I work with that. If it's baseball and academics, I work with that. But if it's a strong academic profile, I will never vary from the topic of trading athletic ability for academic excellence. Never, ever. I firmly believe in that. I lived it as a dad. For those of you that don't know the story, you can look that up. But I've lived it as a dad, and I can tell you that my son benefited tremendously academically by using his right arm to get a degree from Vanderbilt University and Lawrence Academy, currently pursuing a graduate degree. So for me, there are the two options. Any way you slice it, the 25s and the 26s are going to benefit by taking a deeper look into the alternatives, because the sports, as I was trying to make that case before, it's a business. It's an older business, meaning older athletes. And I wanted to touch upon this briefly, but I don't want to go too deep into this tonight, but I will touch upon it over the next few weeks. There is a lawsuit that has been filed by the quarterback currently playing at Vanderbilt University. That lawsuit, the foundational piece to that lawsuit, is to essentially ask for the JUCO years that were used from an eligibility athletically to be thrown out. Because in today's world of NCAA athletics, it's highly profitable to maintain your eligibility to get that next year. Think about this young man. He's taken Vanderbilt to the bowl game for the first time since 2018. Yes, I'm a Commodore fan, anchor down. And so, hey, I want to go through this again. I'm having a blast. Oh, by the way, he's probably making some name, image, and likeness. Walter, what does this have to do with baseball? He's a football quarterback. Aha. What if his lawsuit is successful? Are any of you parents being told about this legislation? Are any of you parents concerned that if he were to win his lawsuit, many don't think he has much of a chance. Many hope he doesn't win his lawsuit. But if, and the NCAA is walking a very fine line with the judicial system and Congress with antitrust, they're very pro student athlete. What if he does win his lawsuit and all of your junior college years of athletic performance no longer count towards NCAA eligibility? You would then have massive destruction in the world of college athletics than we've ever seen. It's not an exaggeration. Do I think it's going to happen? I personally do not. But if it were to happen, or if they were to say, okay, 1 year, you get 2 years of eligibility, 1 year, we're going to take off the 1 year, you get one more year to play. All of these junior college athletes that would be infiltrating and coming into NCAA athletics, what's that going to do to the age groups? Well, we already have 23 and 24-year-olds. Heck, I saw a University of Miami player with 7 years of college football, and I think he's 25 or 26. My point is the better educated we are, the more informed we are, the better decisions we make. And if we're looking at this as a baseball-centric decision, chances are there's going to be some heartache. Not for everyone, but there's going to be some heartache. I personally am not a big fan of trying to anticipate as a high school senior about going to school X and then transferring to school Y because that's a Division III school and I want to play Division I. I personally, just my personal opinion, would prefer that families are making a 40-year decision based on academics, geographics, campus life, social, cultural, all of the conventional components to being a college student athlete. Have you subscribed yet? Has anybody hit the subscribe button? That's all you got to do. I mean, I would really appreciate that. I digress. But my point is parents, the survival guide to the off season is for parents of young children all the way up and through high school. There'll be two different sections. There'll be the youth athletes. There'll be the high school age athletes. There'll be information for both. There'll also be a college recruiting component to it. Then you have the coach's corner, and then we'll have our mental performance and all of the other ancillary topics. All of that I am going to provide to you. The vast majority of it will be the free. Just subscribe, just hit the notification bell. I really would love to be at 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think I'm at 9,000 as we sit here tonight. So I would love for that to happen. The membership, $4.99, and that's all I'm really asking. But the questions now that I got down this rabbit hole, great info. That's what my son is focusing on, 16, eating healthy. Okay, I'm going to digress quickly and finish on this note. Throwing. We have had Eric Cressy. These people are far more educated, far more knowledgeable than I will ever become. I could live 10 lifetimes. I'm never going to be as smart as a guy like Eric Cressy, Tommy Moffitt, any of these baseball people that deal with arms and their kinesiologists and their medical community. I'm going to talk to you now as a dad. I'm going to talk to you remembering when dinosaurs roamed the earth when I was a kid and I would throw a wiffle ball. Tom House has a great line. He said, we've been throwing stuff for centuries. Rocks at rabbits, skipping rocks. We throw footballs. We throw snowballs here in the Northeast. We throw softballs. And you get told you're going to get hurt if you throw a wiffle ball. You're going to get hurt if you throw a weighted ball. You're going to get hurt if you play football. Here's the deal. In November of 1990, on a Wednesday, I had a son named Kyle. He was born. And then 3 years later, on a Sunday in May in 1993, I was fortunate and blessed to have another son that was born. Good news is they were both healthy. And when the doctors handed them to me, other than A, don't drop your son or your baby, cut the cord, there were no directions. There was no playbook. In fact, there was nothing for me to read other than Dr. Spock, I think was back in the day, and not that Dr. Spock. But my point is they don't come with directions. I didn't come with directions. They didn't come with directions. There is no script. There is no rule book to follow other than this. Your children from the age of 8 to 18, I like to say 10 to 20, 21, have one childhood, 1 decade to be a kid, to make stupid decisions, to fall, to cut themselves. occasionally break a bone. But guess what? That's where the worlds of Halloween, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, first date, first kiss, driver's licenses, Santa, Hanukkah, all of the bright lights from every season, every holiday in that decade. And then, good, bad, or indifferent, we all have to become adults. And all of the great things that occur when you're an adult. Bills, responsibilities, chaos, and that has nothing to do with politics, religion, or anything like that. I'm just saying, hopefully, for the vast majority of us, we get to live several decades, 7 to 8 decades past that age of 20. Let your children figure it out. Let them fall. Let them play. You're not going to. I just have a young man at St. Lawrence Academy, loves to play hockey. He's being told, don't play hockey, you're going to hurt yourself. My son used to hear the same thing over and over. Oh, you play football, you're going to hurt yourself. Oh, you play football. Dad, I've been playing football since I was 6. I love playing football. Play football. Somebody was told recently if they played wiffle ball, they were going to hurt their arm. They were going to ruin their swing. What? So my point is, let's have a civil discussion. There are no answers for every single question. There is exploring. There is learning. There is heartache. There is joy. I can tell you, as a parent of athletes, the high school experience was by far and away the most pleasant, the most enjoyable. I was there. I was able to take part, as a fan, visually, also at home, car rides home. They get to college, not like that at all. They get to professional athletics, absolutely nothing like that at all. And, the chirping from the stands in high school, it's there. In college, wow, it's really there. And at professional level, holy moly, and the social media interactions, trust me, as a parent, slow it down. You don't want any part of that. When you read stuff in the, all of these periodicals, this guy stinks, that guy's horrible, that guy's a bust, this guy's this. Hey, my son is collecting a paycheck and he's giving it his best, but I got to suck it up and take it. And that's what being a parent is. So my point to you is, you come here because you want to hear me, not for an hour. You don't want to listen to me dribble. You want to hear me talking with guests. You want to hear me answering your questions. That's what I want to do. The Blue Book provides you as a family the opportunity to capture it all in one place. So thank you for joining me tonight. Please, on your way out, if you're going to send me a message or a DM, at least be following me and subscribe. They're all free. So please do that. Next, I don't ask people for money. All I'm asking you for is the membership for the information that I'm providing. It definitely goes a long way with helping me continue to provide access, insight, information. I would really appreciate that. $4.99, not a lot. And lastly, the Coach's Corner is definitely going to be taking a deeper dive into all of these changes. And you're not going to hear it from me, you're going to hear it from the coaches. But please be respectful. Please understand it's a business. It's not personal. And the things that they're sharing from their heart. They're sharing because of their rapport, their relationship. They want to be candid and honest, but sometimes things do change. So just keep that in mind before you send comments. I try to answer every comment that comes to me via YouTube or Twitter or Instagram. I encourage you to continue to send me those messages, as someone just did just now. I appreciate your time. I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow evening when we chat with the Umbach family. Thank you, Lucas. You're the man. I appreciate it. Thank you for hitting the subscribe button. I appreciate your time, Jason, Adam, Troy. Let's see, Adam, Lucas. Thank you, guys. This week, I'm going to be talking to Troy and Logan. A lot of great contact, a lot of great information. I thank you very much. Look forward to talking with you tomorrow evening. Have a great evening.